Welcome to the standard demonstration of the Primera PRO, our new saddle stitcher. I will present you the Primera PRO together with our workflow system Connex. What is Connex and why we need Connex for? With Connex we want to bring up the quality, the speed, the efficiency and lower down the costs. These are the main purposes of Connex. Connex is the interface between the planning tool and the calculation system and the machine. If we look at the Connex chart, we have up here all the different MIS systems, for example AFE, Print Plus, Prinect from Heidelberg. And down here we have your machine park, all the different machines. And Connex is right in the middle of this. So we have, for example, we have Connex Line Control Pro, which is the imposing tool for digital printing, to impose PDFs to printable PDF for your finishing line. We have Line Control Digital, which is needed to control our digital solution machines. We have Line Control Hankeler, which is the interface for the Hankeler lines. Line Control Finishing and Connex Info will be the part of our demonstration. Line Control Finishing will be the interface where we get a JDF from the MIS system, and Line Control Finishing will transfer that to our machine park. So the JDF file, the job definition format or job definition file, consists the following information: job ID, run length, format data, process type. All this information is in the JDF file. The JDF file is coming from the ZIP4 organization, which Müller-Martini is also part of it. So we take the JDF file from our MIS, and Line Control Finishing transfers that then to our machine. That's what we're gonna do together right now. First I wanna explain you what we're gonna do. We're gonna run first a A4 job. This A4 job is pre-prepared on the machine, so it's already at the machine. All we need to do is just start this job and then produce it. The A4 job consists 2 signatures and a cover. Then I'm gonna do a timed changeover to this A5 product. Also 2 signatures and a cover. After this quick changeover, I go back to the A4 job and change again to this size, and then I will explain the machine into details. All the time we are doing this, the machine will send JMF files back to Connex Info, to our reporting tool. So at the end of this demonstration, we will be able to take a look how well we have done on our machines. So let's do that now together. That's Connex Line Control Finishing. Over here you see the machine park of Müller-Martini, which we have here at the Print Finishing Center. So we select our machine, which is the Primera PRO. And as you can see over here, one job is already downloaded on the machine. We see the amount, we see the name of the job, we see how many good copies we have, how many waste copies we have, and the remaining time, which is 45 seconds. So I have this sheet here with a code on it. This code I'm gonna scan. I'm gonna scan first the machine and then the jobs. So I scan the Primera PRO code and then job number 2 and job number 3. As you can see over here, the jobs are now loaded via Connex Line Control Finishing to our machine. So let's take a look at job number 3. That's all the information here is coming from the JDF file. For example, we have the target speed, we have the amount. I see that we have 2 signatures because we have a semicolon between the numbers here. Huh? So the signature width, signature height, overfold side, it's the back side, and the overfold length. The cover information here, the final size of the product, final width 210, final height 297, so it's an A4 product. 2 staples, the bundle and the layer size. All this information is in the JDF file. If we take a look at the JDF file itself, let me open that for you. So there we go, we have the descriptive name up here. Huh? We have the final product sizes over here. We see it's a brochure and we have the dimensions. The dimensions here are not millimeters, it's points, because that's the value we calculate in the JDF file. It's not millimeter, it's a point value. So 595 point etc. That's 210 millimeters by 297 millimeters. If we go further down on the file, we see the number of stitches, 2 stitches, and we have cover information here and the 2 signatures and the dimensions of the 2 signatures, the overfold length and the overfold side. So we know it's a normal lap opening, a high folio product. Let me close this. And then let's go to the Primera PRO and run these 3 jobs. Okay, so we are here at our machine. The Primera PRO, huh? There we are. We have here our main panel called Master Panel. Over here, that's just for a presentation, that screen right over there, to see what I'm pressing, that the people don't need to look over my shoulder. And on the back side of the wall, we have the big screen, so-called info panel of this machine, huh? Where we see the status of the machine, stops, rejects, or in production information. As you can see right now here, we have the job already down here, as I mentioned it. Number 1 is here, huh? Video Primera PRO, that's the name of the job. And all I need to do now is start the machine and then call up a reference copy, check the reference copy, and if that is okay, we're gonna go into production. Once we have reached our amount, the machine will run out, it will stop, then we do a changeover to the A5 format, the quick changeover, and then after the A5 we go back to the A4, where I'm gonna explain the details of the machine. Okay, so let's start. Start the machine, and I call up a reference copy. Reference copy is coming. We have 1 cover, that's important. And let's check the size, 297 by 210, that's okay. So we are fine. We can finish the setup now and start the production. The machine is producing at 14,000 cycles an hour. And once we've reached our amount, the machine runs out automatically, and stops. And that's what it did. And we want to take a look at our trim quality monitor, or trim quality. It's excellent, perfect cut. Every book looks as the one before. Okay, so we've reached our 150 copies. It also tells us this on the info panel that we are finished with this production. So I'm gonna stop now this production. The machine asks me if I really want to terminate it or if I want to cancel the process. No, I want to terminate this job. Then it jumps right into the job list where we see the other two jobs we just sent from Connex line control finishing. We select job number 2, then say send. All the information here is correct, coming via the JDF file from Connex line control finishing, and we just simply press send to machine. Now the stacker is moving to the new size, and we can do the setup of the trimmer. We move the axis into position. Over here I have an overview of the sizes, so I see they are moving. Then we do the feeder assignment. Feeder number 1, 2, and 4 we're gonna use. I confirm that. And then I gonna set that up. So we're gonna use feeder number 4. That's okay. Feeder number 2. Over here I have to take the A4 signatures out and put the A5 signatures in. First I set my right side of the hopper. It tells me that on the HMI 220 millimeter where it needs to be set at. I see it on the scale here. And then I move all the other sizes to the signature. Okay. Then on the cover feeder, same thing. We remove the covers. Put the A5 covers in. Okay, so that's good. Couple more, so we have enough. I don't need to refill. Already. Good. Then we do our setup copy. I start the machine, and we want to set up the oblique sheet monitor. So I say call setup product. Product is coming down the line and stopping at the correct position, so I can set the front side as well the back side. After this we start again and we make our reference copy. There we go. Goes up into the stacker. Good. One cover, that's important. and check the dimension, 210 by 148, that's okay. So we say finish setup, and we start the production as well over here. Once we have reached our correct amount, the machine runs out and stops. Pre-selection is reached. Let's take a look at the trim quality. Excellent again, Perfect quality. Good. So job number 2 is also done, and as you have seen, it's a very quick changeover. All I had to do is changing the signatures out and then run it, and perfect trim quality, nothing to adjust, just excellent. Okay, so we stop this job. Machine asks us again if we want to terminate the job. Sure, we want to terminate this job. And there's only one job left, the A4, and let's take this one. Now let's take a look at all the informations we have in here. General, for example. All this information is coming from Connex via the JDF file. So we have the job name, the job ID, the circulation, 90 copies we want to produce. The speed, 14,000 cycles. And we have a check mark because everything who is needed is filled in. Let's go to the signature definition. We see we have a cover in and 2 signatures. Now let me add another signature. Let's say I wouldn't have Connex, the Connex interface. If I don't have the Connex interface, I simply can add signatures, or I do it by myself, so all the information I have to enter over here. I say add another signature, then it asks me what you want to do, a signature, a cover, or an add-on from the merchandise tipper. We want to do a signature. Then we go with our measuring device to the signature and press this button so it writes the value into this signature. Then we do the front width and the back width. Now the signature is done. If I have more than this, more signatures with the same sizes, I simply can duplicate it. But as we know, we only have 2 signatures and the cover, so I'm gonna clear them all again. So I just clear 6, 5, and 4. 1 cover, 2 signatures. Then coming to the stitching, over here we define what type of stitching we have, if we have a normal stitch or if we have a loop stitch. As well, we have the mode, if we want to produce the stitches centered or if we want to have it automated placed to the size, to the correct size of the end format. I selected it to centric because I'm a guy who doesn't like to work a lot, and this way I don't need to adjust my staple distance. So I have centered it, and as you can see on the A4 as on the A5, the stitches is centered. If I would select automatic, it would make 1/4, 2/4, 1/4. The same over here, 1/4, 2/4, 1/4. So I would have to adjust my stitch heads. I'm not gonna do that, I leave it at centered. Then we have the final product sizes, which we can enter over here. And over here we have from Connex as well the product thickness. The product thickness on this machine is not needed because the value is measured by the caliper and then transferred to the trimmer. So the trimmer sets itself by the caliper. Downstream machine, the bundle and the layer size, so seems all to be okay. Let's send that to the machine. So up till here you can prepare the machine while you're still running another job. So you don't need to interrupt the job. You just keep on running and set your new job up here. But at that point you need to run out, stop it, and then send the new job in. That's what we do. We hear already the stacker is moving to the correct position. Then we are at the preparation of the machine, setup of the trimmer. We can move the axis. It tells us, if necessary, install or remove roller guide. So if you have a huge format change from the max size to the minimum, then you may need to remove or add something in the trimmer. Has some roller that the big product is not hanging down. But not for an A4 and an A5 product. Nothing to do. We just simply press move axis. Then we see it here. We see them moving, all the axes. So the infeed of the trimmer. We see the spine length and the width of the product. All these axes are now moving to the correct size. And let's go to the setup of the stitcher, which we're not gonna do because we don't have a different staple position. But I just wanna show you what we can do here. I can press the setup position. If I select that and then I start the machine runs, activates a staple process, and stops. So in this position, I can use this pin, put it in here, and remove my stitch head. I remove it with this tool, and now the guides are fixed in position and they are not moving. So I can put it on the side and put a new stitch head in if I wanted to. So that's this position. But we are not gonna change the stitch head. So we leave it in here. Just set it to the correct position. So that pin is for. Then this tool has another point or another thing which it does. We can move the wire in the head by turning here. And as well, I needed to adjust my right leg and the total length of the staple. This I can adjust over here with this tool. Good. And let's go to the feeder assignment. We need to assign the feeder. We're gonna use feeder number 1, 2, and 5. Or I could also say, yeah, the first signature I wanna run in 1 to 2 mode. I just select 1 to 2 mode and then it splits it up and then 2 feeders would be used. Both feeders would run at half speed, so I have plenty of time to load the feeder with paper. But we are not gonna run 1 to 2, so I do that backwards. Then we confirm the feeder assignment, and now the signature stop is moving on the feeders itself. So let's go down to the feeders. We see it here, it's moving, the signature stopped, now it's already there, huh? So it was moving real quick, that's on this feeder. So we're gonna run the vertical pile feeder over here, huh? Need to put some more paper on. As you see, we have different feeders on this machine, huh? We have the vertical pile feeder, and we have the flat pile feeder. Then we have the merchandise tipper to add any booklets or shampoo bags or something like that, cards. And then we have the cover feeder to fold covers or two-page signatures. Okay, so if we compare these two feeders, on the vertical pile feeder, you can load much more paper, as you can see here. For example, this one doesn't have the same load capacity. But if you add on a flat pile feeder a stream feeder, as we have it over there, and an in-feed, then you can even load more than on the vertical feeder. Then that's fully automation. If you want to produce very efficient, that's the way to go. Flat pile feeders, in-feed and stream feeders. Then you can run full speed and very productive. But if you say, yeah, I don't want to spend money on the stream feeders, I like to feed by hand, and you only run A4s and A5, so common sizes, not huge sizes, then you will be good with this one. If you have a hand feed machine and you also want to run big sizes like this or very small sizes and all different kind of openings, then I would suggest a flat pile feeder, because such a big product, our maximum size over here, as you can see, it's not really good because that's what's happening. It doesn't stand very nicely. Okay. But both feeder types can do all openings. So we can do a high folio opening, a low folio opening, all possible on both feeders. As well, a vacuum opening signature with no lap is also possible. Everything is possible with both feeder types. So, on the feeder itself, I have a handle here. I can lift this feeder up and tilt it back. That's for repairing purposes. This helps. Or if I do hand feeding, if I want to do hand feeding, I could tilt the feeder back and then put the signatures on by hand. Put them on the sort, and then with the photo eye we detect it. If it's detected, then another feeder would add something else. All possible here. And up and down is with this handle. Both feeders have ASIR 3 in there, so for barcode recognition and image recognition, that's on both feeders available and installed here. And if we take a look, the tilting on that feeder is done by this pneumatic switch over here. The feeder tilts back, and I can do the same thing as I did on the vertical feeder. I can also do hand feeding. Also with the photo eyes and the sort, everything is here mounted. If I want to put or add my merchandise tipper, I could also lift up my sort and the photo eye and would move it from the front side in here. It's all possible. Okay, so let's tilt this feeder back down. And then as you see, on these two feeders, they are not at the same height. This one seems to be lower than this one. That's a purpose for that. Because if we do a vacuum opening, what we're gonna do, we're gonna tilt the stop like this, because we can only vacuum over here, huh? So this is happening. That's why we are tilting, huh? So that we go smooth on the chain, huh? So we are tilting and then we go smooth on the chain. And because we are tilting, this comes down, so means we lifted the feeder up a little more, huh? So we have more time to the chain and are better open before it smoothly drops on the chain. So over here it's simply done with that handle, and on this feeder I can do that adjustment over here by turning it, and I can adjust each individual setting I want to do. So for a vacuum opening, for a thick product, I would tilt it up that high. See the difference? Also, for a vacuum opening, I told you about tilting the stop. That's simply done pressing this and tilting it. Then the stop is tilted. Can tilt it this way or the other way. The other way is needed if you do a poster opening. If you have a poster in there, then you don't want to cut over here, you're only cutting on that side. So you can open up your poster and you don't cut that off. That's why you need it on the other side as well. Can be done on both feeders, as mentioned already. Good. All right, and we move on. So this feeder is done. It's okay. So it's ready to produce. We are here in the setup screen on the local panel. So I have the pickup button right over here to do a test pickup. And let's go to feeder number 2. Over here I need to change the size on the feeder itself. Also, we are in the setup screen of the local panel, and we see here the number, upper right, 308 millimeters. So we set that on the scale to 308 millimeters. We remove the signature, number 1, 2, excuse me. Put them in. Oh. And move the stops. And then we turn on the stream feeder as well, because we want to run from the stream feeder. So we turn that on. And I could also make a test feed over here by simply clicking this button, jogging, starting, and then only this would feed. On the cover feeder, I also need to change the size. All our feeders are servo-driven, so we have servo-driven technology in there. And the servo drive technology is quite some time we have that in our stitchers. Maybe you remember our high-speed stitcher, the Supra 30,000 cycle an hour stitcher. That was our first machine who had a lot of servo drives. So it's technology from our Formula 1, from the Supra, which is installed here in our Primera PRO. Proven technology. We also turn the stream feeder on over here. We see ASIR is in reference mode, and then the test feed button as well. For the cover feeder, very nice over here. I can tilt the table. I can tilt the table. And I have a stream feeder for the loading, so I tilt the table over here. I have a nice access. I can't go all the way up because of that screen, but I have a very nice access here to the drums if I need to change my scoring, for example. Right now we are on reverse scoring, so if I would go to positive scoring, then I could change them over here, huh? So I have a nice and smooth access. I don't need to take the paper out over here. Okay, that's on the feeder side. Then let's go further down the line. We have here our caliper, our rear caliper, huh? Also servo-driven technology, no setting to this as well. It gets the number of the products and sets the measuring point wherever it's needed to, and then the operator could change if he needs to. Overhang monitor, front and back side we got over here, so let me right away select the oblique sheet monitor, setup position, and we call up a product. So we can set that together. So set up product. It's coming down and stopping right there. So I can set my overhang front side. And the same thing on the back side. All right, huh? So that's the overhang here. Then also on this machine I have the caliper there, and I have the ridge caliper over here, huh? So if you run very, very small products, then you may need to use this. You can simply lower it with this handle, huh? And then, oh, excuse me, by pulling this, you can change the position. We also have a setup position where it stops at the correct point, and then you just turn the wheel to where it needs to be at. If we are at the stitcher right now, I explained already how to put the stitcher in and out. There's also an adjustment for the clincher boxes. The clincher boxes we need to set according to the scale which the job setup manager tells us, wizard. So that can be adjusted here, and the thickness of the product will be adjusted down here. And now, very new on this machine is our delivery. It's a straight delivery. We used to have a delivery on an angle, where the belts went up on an angle. Not here. Over here we have a straight delivery. We have a servo-driven tucker plate down here, which sets automatically. We have the stops. So if we slow down the speed from very high speed to very slow speed, that we don't overrun this position, and we are always correctly coming out in the correct position. That's why we have these stops for. There's a servo drive for the bottom belt, a servo drive for the top belt to have the speed correct, because as you know, if you run a real thick product and you go around, this is happening, and you need to make sure that this comes straight again before you cut. If you cut like this, then the face cut is on angle, and we don't want to do that. So that's all done with servo drives over here. Another servo drive is for the thickness adjustment. So whatever the caliper measures there, the thickness of the book will be adjusted here. That we have a smooth transport and not too much pressure, so no marking at all on the product. So these are very important things and points to get a perfect book. We all got that here. And then let's go to our new trimmer. Take a product with me for explanation. Our new trimmer, the 504 trimmer. It combines all the positive things we had on the trimmers before. So it's a mixture of two trimmers. All the best things are combined in here. We have the infeed, servo-driven infeed. Then we have a servo drive over here for the height of the transport belts. You can see here, that's driven off there. Now the product comes in, runs against the lock, and then the belt lifts off over here. It lifts off just a little bit. Let me show you that, so that we don't have too much pressure over here. That slips nice and smoothly in. If the product is approximately here, the belt goes down again. Transports the product nice and smoothly over our face cut to the stop. The infeed is running a little faster than the trim transport belts, or the belts here run faster. They have to run faster because we need to align on these locks. And what would happen if we run a big cutoff? What would happen if we have too much pressure? We would go too hard against the stops. And so for this reason, if we are right before the stop, we also lift this off. So we have a constant movement here. So we lift up once the beginning of the product comes, then we go down, transport the product, and at the end we lift off, that we don't over push it once we run against the stops. At the stops, we have two tooth belts over here, trim transport tooth belt, so it's not normal belts, it's tooth belts, and we stop at the stop over here. The stop is not coming from the bottom, it's coming from the top, because what happens if it's coming from the bottom, if it goes down, it does this. So we have the stops. We also got the side joggers. They are down here. Also another servo drive. These are the side joggers for jogging the product nice and smoothly. So the product comes in, driven by the infeed transport, gets into the trim transport, and then the trim transport rollers, these rollers over here, the first, are also driven off this servo motor. So we have again the thickness from the caliper, and once we reach the stop, they lift off, and then the side pusher is pushing the product into the correct position. Then the belts go down again and push a little more, that we are 100% aligned. Then the face cut pressure press comes, and then we do the face cut. And this way we have a perfect trim quality. Then the rest of the tooth belts, the pressure is done by these pressure shoes. I lift them up over here, so there's no adjustment. That's all automatically done with these pressure shoes. So no thickness adjustment. So we can run on this machine a thin product and a very thick product right after each other, because we have everywhere servo motors. We have the value from the caliper, so we can set each individual copy thickness right after each other, and always get a perfect trim quality. So that's our trimmer over here. One thing I forgot to mention, sorry, is also the head and foot cut used to be in the past on one motor, moving like this, and now these are each individual motors, two separate motors, two spindles. So the spindle is cut here, there's another one, and each cut can run individually. So if you're not trimming on one side, and this one moves out only, if you're not cutting on that side, this one moves out a little bit. Also, if you, very important for the split cut, if you have a different split cut to install, you don't have to move the knives over that both products have the same sizes, even though if you have a different split cut, all automatically here, because we have two different motors. So it's the perfect automized trimmer on the market. The best of the best. Good. And now we are starting the production. Oh, one thing I need to do. We have our setup copy still here. So I start, calculate again, or make our reference copy, make sure this is good, and then we do our last production. So we go to reference copy, call up a reference copy, it's coming down the line, going into the stacker. I reject it. We make sure we only have one cover. That's good. Staple looks perfect. Then we check the size, 296.9. That's good. By 209.9. So that's okay. Then we say finish setup, and we produce our last job. Products are coming out over here on the stacker. Perfectly stacked products. And then once we reached our amount, the machine runs out, pushes the last bundle out and stops. Let's take a look at the trim quality. As usual, perfect. Just perfect. Okay. So we are done over here. That's our new machine. So if we recap real quick what we got, servo-driven technology all on our machine. On the feeder, everything is motorized. On the stitcher, complete new stitcher delivery with a nice straight delivery, complete new trimmer where you can cut variable thickness from product to product without any operator interference. So that's the recap of our machine. So perfect new saddle stitcher from Müller Martini. So we finished this job over here. Or I could suspend it. We don't want to suspend it. We want to stop it. We stop it. Terminate job. Yes, we terminate that job. And now we see the job list is empty. All our products are done. So we are going back to Connex Info and take a look how well we have done or how bad we have done. We will see in a couple minutes. Okay, there we are, back. We produced the 3 jobs, A4, A5, A4. What have we done, So we got JDF files, 3 JDF files from our MIS, generated in the pre-press. Sent them via Connex line control finishing to our machines. Produced them on the Primera PRO, and while we were producing, the machine was sending the JMF files back into Connex Info, into our reporting tool, with information like job ID, status, counter, errors, and product IDs. So that was done. So we will see how well we have performed. So let's switch to Connex line control finishing. We see here no jobs are there anymore. We saw it also on the Primera PRO. On the job list, no jobs were there. So nothing is here, no JDF files left. Let's go to Connex Info. On Connex Info, we see the Primera PRO no job is active. The performance the last 60 minutes was 320 copies. So we are right now in the live view of Connex. If we take a look here, that's our machine park. These are our 7 devices we have in our machine park. The Primera PRO, for example, we saw it was in setup the last hour, then it was in production, setup, it was stopped, it was idling. All this information we have. The Prinova is down. The Vareo is down as well. And there's a simulator, the Diamond was in production as well. So 7 machines. There's the job list of these 7 machines the last hour with an overview. And we see it right away here, our 3 jobs we produced on the Primera PRO, video Primera PRO. They are here. I could jump right into the analysis of these jobs by simply clicking here. We're not gonna do it right now, we do it later. The utilization of our machine park, 7 machine, 1 hour, last hour was our machine park was 5.4 hours down. It was 36 minutes in idling. It was 27 minutes in production, 38 minutes in setup, and clean up 8 seconds something, and 6 minutes our machine park was stopped. Also, our machine park produced the last hour 671 copies. The target waste is 2%. Our machine park made 0.3% waste, so we are minus 1.7% waste on the waste rate. We have another view here in the live view. The Primera PRO, we see no job is active. The current status is idling, for example, or as a difference, the Prinova has a fault, stop operation, it has a job on it. We see the current status of the Prinova, it stopped, the speed 0, performance 0, last 60 or last 15 minutes. The current print run, the net count, and the waste quote, we have no waste quote right now, and the Primera PRO the same. So we have this view or the 3D view. This one I like most because you can install it in your office where all the guys of pre-press are sitting or the production manager is. So he has a clear overview of his machine park. We see the Prinova has stopped operation. It stopped. The Primera PRO has no job loaded, and all the other machines are gray, so means they are down, they are turned off. Let's take a look at the 3 jobs we produced today. So we have the current week, all jobs from our machine. We gonna select here the job. It's called Video Primera PRO. We select them. There we go. These are our 3 jobs. We see the job list. Quick overview, performance indicator, bad. Faults is good. Waste is also good. Print run 90 copies. Net copies we also did 90. Then on the second job it was 80 and 150 on the third one. Let's go to the Gantt view. There we see we loaded the jobs in at the machine at 10:26, and then we did a lot of explanation and started, and then at the machine we had a stop at 10:48. Then we produced 45 seconds. Then the machine was stopped again. The amount was reached, and we cleaned it out, loaded the new job, job number 2. That was the setup time for job number 2. So 3 minutes and 33 seconds was our setup time change. And then we were in production. Also, we reached the amount, stopped, and then loaded the last job in. Over here we had 25 minutes in a setup change because I explained quite a lot about the machine. And we were produced that, finished it, and there we are at 11 something. Yeah, 11:26 or so. We are now there. If we take a look at the summary of these 3 jobs, we also have a utilization overview, top faults and top stops, an OEE overview, and the most waste. Utilization is still loading. Top faults we had none because we had no faults at all. Then we had 1 stop, 1 production stop. 3 events. We will see once we print out the files what it was. We have an OEE overview. Waste, we haven't done any waste. That's why it didn't find any data. Print run was 320 copies. Produced 320 copies. Target of waste was 1%. Waste produced 0. That's why we have minus 1%. Let's take a look at the job report. I just simply press this button, open report. It generates now a PDF file. This PDF file you could send whenever a job is finished so that you have an overview how you've done, how you've performed. We have the 3 job names over here. The time, overall time 0.9 hours for the 3 jobs. Print run, net waste 0. Then the performance indicator of the machine. Then the time accounts. So cleanup was 0.10 minutes, setup over 50 minutes, production 1.79 minutes. You also see it here. Then we see it on the Gantt view. So first job, second job, third job. Top faults, we didn't have any fault, but we had a stop. So we had pre-selection amount reached. Once we reached the amount, the machine stopped 3 times. Took us in sum 2.77 minutes to clear that. And an overview of these 3 jobs with net copies, print run, waste in percentage, waste in copies, and the performance. So all this information you get from Connex. So thank you very much for your attention for the standard presentation of the Primera PRO. I wish you a good time and see you soon, hopefully in Savingen. Take care. Bye-bye.